Welcome back to Sunrise Daily. Well, we're picking up with the unfortunate case of the medical doctor who jumped into the lagoon. Well, let's start off listening to the general manager of LASEMA, Mr. Tiamio. He joins us via phone this morning to get updates from him. Good morning, and thank you for joining us today. Well, many are still concerned, especially the family also wondering. Any news about the body?
We will be going back very soon to the incident scene. The heavy rain last night hampered our rescue effort in the evening, and we have to put a stop to it. But the men are preparing now to go back to the incident scene, and we will look around and find out from our contact if any floating body have been found anywhere in the course of the river. That is the situation we have on hand.
Well, I understand you've been searching for a while now. How much more grounds do you think you need to cover?
Well, the truth is that we have to rely on the divers and the marine police who are patrolling the waterways. Because we cannot expect to find the corpse in the same location where it fall into. So we will have to expand our search to a wider area of place, and then we've informed people, because we also understand that if they have been washed further down in the course of the river, so everybody along that corridor are alert and they have been informed. So when anything like that is sighted, our control will be notified and we will move in immediately.
Are you able to pinpoint the exact location where he plunged?
Well, the location is a prime focus for us, yes, but we are going further.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, we lost Mr. Adesina, the general manager of LASEMA. Mr. Adesina, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
So
I can hear you.
We might as well just go ahead. But yes, indeed, we're hoping that we'll get more information from him, and then we will get it as we get them. That was the general manager of LASEMA. Well, we're also hoping to get across to Mr. Fatai Owosheni, the Commissioner of Police in Lagos, to get a word from him as well on this matter. But in the meantime here, we've got the Dr. Olayinka Atilola, the consultant psychiatrist of LASUTH. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, good morning, Chamberlain.
Well, this is a case that is shocking to a lot of people, but for mental healthcare practitioners like yourself, this may not actually be that surprising. What do you think could have happened in this case to make him plunge?
Thank you. At the risk of over speculating, we may not know exactly what may have happened, but to a mental health physician like myself, we know that even if not as well reported as the prevalence might have been, suicidal behaviors and suicidal attempts are quite very common.
Okay. Pardon me to butt in. Apologies. I understand that the GM LASEMA can actually hear me, even though I can't hear him here in the studio. But could you go ahead and tell us then, because one we're wondering, were you able to identify the particular place that he plunged, and when do you expect to call off this search that is going on?
Yes, we identified a particular spot where he fell into, because he was with the driver who told us what happened. But we're not limiting the search to that particular spot now. We're going further down the course of the river to identify where it could be washed up to. Now, the locals along that course of the river have been identified, and we've been notifying them. So when anybody notices any floating body around that area, our LASEMA response team will be notified as quickly as possible. But last night, it was the rain that stopped our rescue effort.
There are also concerns about your rescue teams, the equipment that you're using, your capacity to carry out water-based search. How well are you equipped to carry out this search, just so that we have a result at the end?
We have the capacity. We have the Nigerian waterways. We have the Lagos Ferry Service. We have the Lagos Waterway Management Agency. All of these people have boats that they have deployed. It has happened before. If you remember, some weeks back, a vehicle plunged into the river by the Mekwe Bridge, and we were able to go underwater and bring out the vehicle, even with the dead lady inside. So we have the capacity to do all of that. But you see, in this case, if it was trapped in a vehicle, it would have been easier for us to locate the vehicle and bring it up. Now, a body has fell into water. We do not expect that it will remain on the same spot because the water is a moving body. So what we are trying to do now is to expand the areas of our search and also involve the locals, fishermen who are daily on the water, to identify for us if they see any floating body. And we have told them the number to call when they do that. As soon as that body is identified and they see us, we will move in and retrieve the body. Until that is done, we will not put a stop to that search yet.
Where he plunged, we understand, is a continental shelf area, if you could put it that's a continental shelf. And that should suppose that the water is not too deep from that end. How is this going to aid you? This should be able to give you some positive results quickly, I suppose.
I didn't get you well.
Allegedly to have fallen into, it's a continental shelf.
Yes. And
that will suggest that it's not a very deep area. How will that enhance your search?
You said the truth is that when a body falls into any water, when the lungs is filled up with water, the next thing is for the body to float. Now that is the next thing we are expecting. And traditionally, people will tell you that when things like this happen, within 24 and 48 hours, the body should float. Some people told us that we should expect it around the same area, while some people say it will have been washed ashore towards the Badagry side, because it has happened before. So our search is not localized. We've informed everybody, and people are on the lookout on the waterway. That's exactly what we're trying to do now. But for us, our team will be back at the same spot to find out from the locals what did they notice overnight and all of that. The combination of all of this effort, I'm very sure we will have a good result probably today before the end of the work.
How did you get to hear about the case? In the course of your job now, do you think that people are getting more aware how to contact the emergency response and then you arriving there in time? Mr. Additional, can you hear me?
Oh, yes. I can hear you now.
Yeah, I was wondering, how did you get to hear of this matter? Are people getting more aware of how to contact you when emergencies like this happen?
Yeah. Yes, it has improved considerably the awareness of Lagosians at calling emergency responders when incidents like this happen. I can tell you confidently, on a daily basis, at the LASEMA call center, we receive an average of 8.
It's also very important that people get to know what they need to do, who they need to call, how they need to get across the emergency agencies to get to the scene of some of these cases in good time as well, which we'd like to imagine that that's something that they're consistently working on. Well, Dr. Atilola is still here with us this morning. Pardon me for that. I had to just go ahead and conclude with that. You were making a point about where we're wondering, how do these kind of things happen?
Yes, I was saying that for us as mental health physicians, this will not come as a surprise. And if data is anything to go by, and I believe data is something to go by, a recent study that was conducted in my own department in the Lagos State University College of Medicine, of which I was involved. The study was conducted in 2016 and is a Lagos-wide study. And we found a prevalence of between 7.5 and 8% of what we call suicidal ideation, which is usually the precursor of further suicidal behaviors in most instances. And what that will mean, if we can interpret data literally, is that 7 out of every 100 adults Lagosian is, as at that time, at that point in time, having ideas around suicide, which is usually, like I said, the beginning point, because people don't just die by suicide or kill themselves. Not often that it is spontaneous. Most often than not, it's usually preceded by the thoughts of it. And we have a spectrum, a whole spectrum of it. We start from a wish to die.
A wish
to die.
How do we pick up that kind of wish? I mean,
yes, which is where actually the intervention for, you cannot do anything about suicide. Suicide has happened, the person is dead. But the main focus of intervention is to identify individuals at risk. And these individuals at risk are people that are having the ideation. And people that are having the ideation, usually they tend to talk about it. Either in the course of a medical consultation, in the course of a social conversation, in the course of contact and discussion on social media, in the course of discussion with their counselor, with their pastor, with their imam. The only thing is whether we understand it for what it is. That is the only problem.
But in
most cases, I'm sorry, in most cases, these friends and associates that they discuss with miss the point that they're trying to communicate to them.
It's not unusual that people understand it. In fact, I was reading something on Facebook recently where somebody actually mentioned the fact that he was tired of life, and somebody showed the troll of people telling him.
We'll come back and take it at that point. From that point, when we return in a moment. Don't go away.